blendtools.com. This time we're going to see how to navigate the scene and using the cameras. Alright, so first of all I would like to tell you that there are two types of cameras in Blender. The first type of camera is the one that we use for navigating through the scene, the one that we are using right now. Okay, and the second ones are these cameras, physical cameras that we can make point into an object, and the rendered image will be taken from that point of view. Alright, so this is the cameras that we animate for our final render, and this is the camera that I use when navigating the scene. Right, the controls are mostly the same, but the cameras we can position them by moving them, rotating them, and whatever. So we are going to see the main things about the view navigation. I put the factory settings again because I have it all configured. Then we are going to see how I configure my Blender so it's more comfortable for me to navigate into the 3D space. Alright, for starting we can orbit by middle mouse button click. Okay, by pressing shift and middle mouse button we can pan, and with the mouse wheel we can zoom in and out. Also with the middle click and control we can make zoom in out in a more smooth way, more smooth and precise way. Okay, now there are several things here, and one of them is the fly mode. Okay, we can operate the camera with the fly mode, and this means that the camera will be flying. I don't know how to explain it better, I'll show you. You can press Shift and F, and you can see this little square right here. Okay, out of this square, if we move the cursor, the camera will follow the cursor. Alright, like in a video game. With W, A, S and D we can move the camera around, just like in a video game. But be careful because it gets too fast usually. Also with the mouse button, with the mouse wheel, sorry, you can going forward and backward, you can move the camera also. Okay, this is the fly mode. It's I use it a lot when we have a camera. Right, let me see, I have a camera here, then I'll show you how I made this. Having the camera, let's see, we have this scene, and we can use Shift F for orient the camera to the character. Okay, I find it very useful. Also, when in the shift mode, if we make a middle mouse button click, we can pan. Okay. Alright, so once this is set, let's go to the camera controls. So mainly the camera in Blender is controlled by the Numpad. Right, the Numpad is the number keys you have at the right of your keyboard, like a calculator keyboard. Probably if you are in a laptop or a small keyboard, you don't have that Numpad. It's very useful for navigating in Blender with cameras, but if you don't have it, don't worry, you can emulate it. We'll see later how to do it. So in the Numpad, with 0 we get the point of view of the active camera. Okay, with dot we focus the view into the selected object. Okay, there we are, and there we are. It works also with faces or little selections as vertices. Okay, then with plus and minus we can zoom in and out. With slash we can switch between the local and the global view. The local and global view allows you to isolate an object so the rest of them are hidden and they aren't in the middle when you are working on a little object. Here, for example, you can see that the camera focuses into this object, and the rest of them are hidden. If you press it again, you will go out through the global view. Here you can see it says that is on the local view. Be careful when you are in this mode, because a lot of tools aren't doesn't work in this mode, and probably you are going to be like, oh, what the hell, it doesn't work, because it happened to me a lot of times. And then I realized that I'm in local mode, and that's all. Well, this is a little thing. We can hide the manipulators by pressing Ctrl and space. Okay. Then with the numbers, we can switch the viewpoint. All right. With 1, 3, and 7, we can go to front, right, and top views. The opposite one, looking for the back view, we can do it by pressing the same keys, 1, 3, and 7, but with Ctrl pressed at the same time. So Ctrl 1 will be the back, Ctrl 3 left, and Ctrl 7 bottom. Right? Then with 4, 2, 6, and 8, the cross of the numpad, we can rotate the camera around. Right? And finally with 5, we can switch between orthographic view and perspective view. Okay. So we have this. Let me take a look if I'm missing something. You can select a little part of a view, right, with Alt B. This is, for example, if you're working in this area of the model, maybe you need to focus there, and you don't want this other leg to be in the middle, right, between the leg that you're working on and the camera. So what you can do is to just position the camera, press Alt B, and with this box selection, select the area that you want to see. And there you have it. It has been isolated. Of course, if you press Alt B again, it will be back to the normal. Alright. Well, it's something similar to selecting an object and pressing H for hiding it and Alt H for unhiding it. But this hides very quickly big parts of the model. Okay. Now we are going to the user preferences and take a look at what we have there. Before doing it, I'm going actually to explain you something else. Let's go to the top view and let's duplicate this camera. Right, I want to show you how to use the cameras, these cameras of Blender. So with this camera, you know that this is the active camera because this little triangle is solid. All right, this one is wireframed, so it's not active. How to make a camera be the active camera? Well, you can go here to the scene panel and here select the active camera. All right, and you can also make it, right? If we press 0 in the numpad, if you remember, we go to the view of the active camera. But if we select another camera, we can make it be active by pressing Ctrl and 0. And that will be the point of view. Now you can see that the previously active camera is now wireframed and the active camera is this new one. Alright. Also, let's say that we want the active camera to be looking from this position. We can do it by pressing Ctrl, Alt, and 0 in the numpad. Alright, that's it. Now Shift F, go a little back, and left click to confirm. Maybe composite a little bit the scene like this. Alright, of course, if we are in the camera view, if we make a middle mouse button click for orbiting, it automatically goes out of the camera view. Now I like to show you some options here for the view. Here you have the lens. Okay, this is the amount of perspective that we have in the viewport. Here you can see that it's lots of perspective, and here in 90 there is almost no perspective at all. It's actually kind of an orthographic view. Right, I like to work in 60 more or less because it doesn't distort a lot, but it has a little perspective. Alright, then we can lock the camera to an object. Right, we can go here, select lamp, and the camera will be locked to that lamp. Right, even if we try to, we cannot pan the camera. Right, this is quite useful when we want the camera to be focused on an object, on a part of an object that we were working on, and we know that when working and rotating the camera and all that stuff, we are going to lose the center point of where the camera is looking at. So this way we prevent that situation. But what if I want to work it here and we are locked to this object, where we can select the object and move it there. Okay, and for some reason this is not working. This should move my camera. Let's try with another object. See how this object is called. This is cylinder, Control C, and here Control V. Okay, if we've moved this, right, it moves. Okay, I think it was because lamp actually wasn't this one. Is the one, right, this is the lamp 001. Sorry, this is my fault. I have the lamp is in the scene, not in this soldier scene that we are working on. So that was the error, was my fault. So now I can go here, paste here lamp 1, and now yes, we can position the lamp right there. And now we can do what we want with the camera, because we are going always be looking at this point. Okay, we can deactivate it. Now, lock to cursor is another way of doing just the same thing. We can lock it to the cursor, and now we can position the cursor where we want our camera to be focused, and that will lock the camera. Like here, for example, as you can see, but we cannot pan. Right, go back to normal. And here is a new option that, well, not new at all, because they added it like 3 or 4 months ago, but it was a very much awaited option, because usually in any software, in any 3D software, we can go with the camera, position it, and okay, take a render. But here in Blender it doesn't work, because when we press render, it always takes the point of view of the active camera. Right, so how to control that? Okay, we can press 0 to go to the camera view. Okay, here also is always telling the name of the view you are working on. So here, activate this option, lock to camera to view, and we can now move the camera as if it was normal navigation camera. Right, position it just as we want to make the render, and take a render. This is quite useful for when we are working on materials and that stuff, that we need to make quick renders from several parts of the model and focus on this part, for example, and take a render. Okay, it's pretty useful. And well, even if this won't be the camera that we use for the final animation, because, well, that camera should be animated and we are not going to move it over the scene. Okay, let's position it again, and now we can just go out of the camera view and we can navigate normally. And if we want to prevent the situation that in the future, when we are in the camera view and we want to go out by orbiting, it will move the camera, we can deactivate it. So it's back to normal. Alright, this is the clipping options. Clipping options allows us to select, a range of distance in which the camera can see objects. Right, so here is the starting point and here is the ending point. So the end point is now at millimeters, 1000 meters, sorry, and we are going to use 100, maybe 10. Okay, 10 is too little. There you can see that the camera starts not seeing the objects apart from this line. Right, here also we are going to look at it from the top. Here you can see how it starts to cut our character. The same happens for the beginning. There you have it. Right, so we can only see that range of distance. You can be asking, what the hell is this used for? Well, it's used usually for complex scenes like a city, for example, in which if you are in the street, probably you won't see the buildings that are, behind another buildings and all that stuff. So you can store here a distance in which you can see objects, and the computer won't calculate the rest of them. So it's easier for you, or maybe you just don't want to see more distance. All right. So in that cases, it's pretty useful. Here I'd like to say one thing, and is that here keep it in 0.1. Okay. If you have problems that your object probably is very, very small, maybe with this amount here, when working on little things, you're going to see that the camera, it will happen something like this, okay? That you want to move that vertex and you can see what you're working on, okay? In that cases, you can turn this down to this, but it will sometimes cause problems of drawing the objects on the scene, right, with so little starting points. Okay, so what I recommend you to do is to keep it over 0.1, and if you have that problem, probably is because your character is or your model is very small, so maybe you need to make it bigger, right? Okay, more things. Well, the same options. Let's see the options of the camera. All right, the camera. Let's go to the camera view, and let's hide out options. Well, here finally, just want to say one thing, and is that here you can slide these parameters for moving the 3D cursor over the scene. Quite handy. Also, you can put here manually where you want the cursor to be. Okay, here is the camera panel when you have a camera selected, and here you can choose if the camera is orthographic or is in perspective. Here you can select the lens that you want, right, just as the one for the navigation. Here is what you use, millimeters or degrees for the focal length. And there are several things. Here you have the clipping also for this one. Here you have the distance in which the camera is focusing on. This is used for later when we render the scene into the compositing. We can select an object in which we are focused on, or we can set a distance, right? If the camera is moving and the scene is moving, I recommend you to select an object and move that object along with the object that you want to focus, because using distance can be cool, but in complex movements and things like that, you probably lose the focus. All right. Now here is the Passepartout. Passepartout is just this. Let's watch it. Is this dark area out of the camera. What does do? Well, probably we don't want to see this at all. Okay, we want to deactivate it. But a lot of times, for watching to the animation and see what's actually inside of the camera, what we are going to build finally on the render, we can put it completely black. Right, so we don't lose the time looking at things that aren't in the camera view. And probably when we are working, we want to do this because sometimes we realize that, oh, this part of this object is right here. It would be better if it's like here, and we can working with things and all that. But I personally, I prefer when watching an animation, a final animation, I prefer to put this completely black. Right, let's go here, put it completely black, and that's all. Now here we can we have several options for the compositing, you know, the composite lines, like the third rule, for example. It helps us when the compositing. I'm going to lock the camera to view, so it's always following me. Okay, so as you can see, the rule of thirds. Select the camera again, and here the golden area, and well, several of them. This is the center. Okay, here we can activate several lines. This marks the center. Okay, so here you can see the name of the camera. This is the safe area for the video, and well, several things as limits. Limits can be useful. Let's go out of the camera. This will help us understand the clipping and the distance. The distance is that cross that you can see over there. So this area would be the focused area. All right, from here it will be the focused, and out of here it will be the focused also. Now if we start changing the clipping, you can see that that line marks the area in which we are going to see object. Right, closer from that and farther away from that, we are not going to see anything. So well, let's here I think we are done. We have seen almost everything, and now just finally I wanted to show you one little thing, and it's an add-on. Right, let's go to the user preferences, let's go to the add-ons, and let's activate 3D navigation. So here now we will have several options. This will show us the active camera, like 0 in the Numpad, global and local view as we saw before, perspective and ortho, the same as the 5 key in the Numpad, and here we have the 6 views. Right, as I said, if we use the Numpad and we are used to use it, I for example use always the Numpad, having here these options is almost unuseful. But if you are noobed in Blender and you want to have buttons in case you don't want to be with learning a lot of shortcuts and things like that, well, this is your add-on for navigating the scene. Here you can select an object for locking the camera view to it. Okay, like this one. Here, view to selected. This is what I said before, that point in the dot in the Numpad does. Here, this will center the view in the 3D cursor. This will center the cursor, and this will take the cursor to the selected object, right? If we don't want to do it from here, we can do it with Shift S, and here we have the aligning options for the 3D cursor. Also, all these things almost we have them from here, right? From this menu, the view menu. Here we have almost everything. Now, yes, for finishing this tutorial, I like to talk a little about several options that we have in the interface. These options here affects the camera a lot. The way we interact with the scene depends a lot in these options. So first of all, auto depth. Auto depth, I'm going to show you what that does. Let's duplicate this object and put it right there. All right, what auto depth does is that it allows you to, depending on what you have under the cursor, under the pointer, the camera will rotate in a different way. Okay, so depending on the distance that the object under your cursor is, the camera will rotate according to it. So now if we have the cursor here, you can see that the camera is rotating around it. But if we position it here, it will rotate around the other one. Right? So this is what auto depth does. It's some kind of intelligent focusing. I don't know how to explain it, but it's quite useful. Zoom to mouse position, well, it's if you can see here, even if we have the cursor right here, it will make the zoom to the center of the viewport. But if we activate this option, it will make zoom to where we have our cursor. There we go. Rotate around selection. I can't live without this option. It will always rotate around the point of the object that you have selected. Okay, as you can see, it rotates around it, but if we select this one, it will rotate around it. Right? It will take the origin of that object as the orbiting point for rotating. There we have it. And there we have it. This is quite useful. And also, it works with small selections, which is very handy when we are modeling and we are now we are working here. I move this vertex, okay, and now I go here and the camera rotates again around it. It takes always the selection as the point of interest of the camera. And finally, auto perspective. Auto perspective is very handy because when we are with players press 1 or 7, for example, for a top and front view, and we are in an orthographic view, all right? But if we go out of this view, it will automatically be converted to perspective view, right? Which is something that I like to use. All of these options are personal. Some of you probably don't find them useful, and others will do, but this is what we have. Here in the rotation angle, we define the amount of rotation that we do when we press one of the cross numbers in the Numpad, right? So it defines the increment in which the camera rotates there. Also here, smooth view, I like to use it, right? Smooth view is, let's put it on 500 so you can see its effect. When we press one of the buttons for the view, you can see that it rotates, right, in a smooth way, some kind of animation. Okay? Let's put, for example, much more. That's the maximum. 1 second. Okay. As I said, I like to use this, but this was only for showing you. Normal is 200. If you set 0, you won't have an animation between one point of view and the other. Probably you find this useful. I prefer to have a little animation, even if it's fast, because it helps me, you know, some kind of link in the position of the objects between the two views, alright? Because I see them rotating around and all that, and I don't lose them in any point. So, well, I find it useful, probably you don't. And finally, another thing that I like to configure, if you come from another software, probably you also want to do it. Well, it's very usual to orbit around the models when we are working with them, alright? And panning is also very usual, but I think that I orbit more than I pan. So it's quite hard to have to press 2 keys for panning. Sorry, I think it is very late here. I'm almost asleep. And I just tell it the opposite way. I think that I pan more than I rotate the view. So I think that it's easier for me to panning with only the middle mouse button and shift and middle mouse button for orbiting. Right now it's doing it the opposite way by default. So we are going to the user preferences, and here in the input panel we have here several options. Emulate 3 buttons mouse. Well, here if you don't have a mouse with a middle click, you can do this and press Alt and left click to emulate the middle click. Continuous grab means that when you are grabbing something, the cursor goes up here and it appears down here, so you can drag it to the infinite. Right here you can emulate the numpad. This is what I told you before. It will make the normal numbers of your keyboard to become a numpad. Alright. And finally, this is the turntable versus the trackball orbiting methods. Probably you find more useful to use the trackball. Turntable is the one that I use. Turntable lets you rotate the camera in 2 axes, while trackball lets you use the camera into the 3 axes. For me, is some kind of DC, because this can happen to us. Okay, we can from up to down, from left to right, but if we are from left to right and we make this, it will roll, camera will roll. When working in turntable, the camera won't roll, never. So here you can roll the camera. It can be useful sometimes, but I find it a little unnatural. So I prefer to use the turntable model. But as I said before, this is up to you. And here several options for you know, inverting the way in which you use the zoom and all that. And finally, for changing the thing that I said before about pressing shift and middle mouse button is right here. Okay, 3D view, and here we have rotate and move view. Rotate view, you have here the middle mouse, so left click, shift and middle mouse button. And now here, middle mouse button. We have them. And now with middle mouse button we pan, and with shift and middle mouse button we orbit the camera around the model. And now, just for your sake, if you like to know it, another every time I install Blender and I lose my you know, my configuration, this option, I activate all these options. Okay, sometimes I activate this one also, just for feeling a little nerd, I don't know. They are cool, activate them. Also, I activate this one because in menus it's faster, we don't need to make click in the menus. And then here I align the objects to view. Okay, I explained this in other tutorials, but I always put it this way because working with the Numpad, you can easily change your point of view and apply the object from the point of view that you need it, right? Which is faster than applying it from the world and then position it and rotate it. All right. Then I use release confirms. Release confirms makes this. If we now press right button and drag the cursor, if we release the button, it will continue following our cursor until we confirm it with left click. Okay. I find a lot faster to activate this option, and now just drag, and when I release it, it's confirmed. Right? So you can see much faster. And also you can be more precise because you are dragging it, you let it right there, and that's it. But if you need to click, it's some kind of more difficult. I don't know, for some people, I know for some people it will be easier having to confirm that movements. For me it isn't, and probably it isn't also for a lot of you. So finally, another thing, just by curiosity, if you are dragging something, you can press shift while dragging and it will drag more slowly, so you can have more precision in that moment, and you let it just in the place that you want. So let's put everything back in place. Okay, delete that. And well, I think we almost covered all the ways, all the possible ways of navigating the scene. Probably there are more of them, but I don't know them now, or I don't remember because I'm pretty asleep, as I said, and this tutorial became a lot longer than I expected. So well, see you in next tutorials. I hope you learned something from this. Even if you knew how to navigate, probably you learned something new. And that's it. Hope you find it useful. See you in next tutorials, and happy blending.